So, who is this woman? Well, let's meet Miss Mijares. She's 34 years old, works in a placement office for the unemployed, and her life, it's really been defined not by what she's done, but by everything she hasn't.
And this is where it gets so interesting. You see this huge contrast, right? Publicly, Miss Mijares is all business. Impatient, a little harsh. She even wears these camouflaging ruffles to create the illusion of a fuller figure. But underneath that stern professional shell, there's this whole secret world of loneliness. She has thoughts of love, sparked by something as simple as a man brushing past her on a jeepney. And there's this heartbreaking detail, the realization that her lips have never been bruised by a kiss.
9. That's how many years have passed since her mother died. That was the moment she thought her life would finally begin. She expected love, glory, something. But instead, she was met by nothing more than, as the story says, empty shadows.
Right after her mother passes, she's in the room and she looks down at her own hands. These are strong, capable hands that spent years caring for her dying mother. And she's hit with this mix of shame and bitterness that they've never known a man's touch. It's just this one image that perfectly captures all her years of sacrifice and this profound sense of a life that just hasn't been lived yet.
But then, into this very carefully controlled, quiet world, walks an unexpected catalyst for change.
A carpenter comes into her office looking for a job, and right away, he is totally different. He isn't desperate or beaten down like the other men she sees. No, he has this physical confidence, this obtruding insolence that kind of annoys her but also disarms her. He's just this vibrant, undeniable presence in her bleak little office.
Now, on her desk sits this little paperweight. It's a badly made wooden bird. One wing is kind of tilted. And it's just this perfect, almost tragic symbol of her own life, isn't it? A bird that was grounded by time before it ever really had the chance to fly. And this is just brilliant. It shows you his effect on her immediately. He just casually picks up the broken bird, takes out his penknife, tightens a screw, and dusts it off. And just like that, in his hands, this symbol of her brokenness is totally transformed. It's not a failed eagle anymore. It's a dove, a symbol of peace, and maybe, just maybe, a new beginning.
So his presence, even that simple act of fixing the bird, it starts to create these small but really significant cracks in the emotional walls she spent decades building around herself.
So this moment here, it's a huge turning point. For some reason, she can't even explain it to herself. She speaks up for him and gets him a raise. But when he thanks her, his words, "You would know I have no wife yet," they feel like this personal jab. It's like he can see right through her professional armor, right through those camouflaging ruffles, and it leaves her feeling completely exposed and vulnerable.
This experience is such a powerful metaphor for what's going on inside her. Not long after that encounter, she literally gets lost on her way home. The familiar, controlled path of her life has been totally disrupted by this man, and now she finds herself both emotionally and physically lost, stranded in a part of the city she doesn't even recognize. This rising tension inside her, this feeling of being completely lost, it finally has to break. And it does, just as a literal storm breaks over the city. He's gone for a week, and when he comes back, he just casually drops this bombshell. His son has died. Now, for Miss Mijares, this does not compute. It triggers what the story calls a slow, bitter anger inside of her. How could he possibly have a son? His explanation is so blunt, so simple, and it's from a world that is completely alien to her carefully preserved, untouched life. The idea that a man can have a child without the whole structure of marriage, a life of passion and consequence so different from her own, it just shatters her composure completely. And get this. Just as her internal world is erupting in this storm of anger and confusion, and maybe even a little bit of envy, the outside world mirrors it perfectly. A sudden, violent thunderstorm traps both of them in the office, a perfect reflection of the tempest brewing inside her. Now, the story doesn't end with a neat little conclusion, no happily ever after. Instead, it leaves us with a single, powerful, and really ambiguous moment of choice. They manage to get a jeepney, but the driver abandons them in the pouring rain before they get to their stop. And in that moment, the entire world just shrinks. It's just the two of them, alone on a dark, empty, rain-beaten street. And here it is, this moment of terrifying clarity. After a whole lifetime of suppressing them, her dreams of love and connection start to flutter back to life.
And the possibility of it all feels both monstrous to the safe, ordered world she has always known, but at the same time, it's irresistibly, overwhelmingly sweet.
As they're standing there, he accidentally brushes up against her. I mean, it's a simple accidental touch, but for her, it ignites a physical response she has held down her entire life. Her flesh literally leaps, and she remembers the tenderness in his hands when he fixed her paperweight, when he turned that broken bird into a dove.
And this is where the story leaves us. Her armor, those camouflaging ruffles, they're all wet and wilted and useless now, and she makes a turn. Not away from him, but towards him, towards this man, towards the monstrous and the sweet, towards a completely unknown future. So what do you think that turn signifies?